Hello there, everybody. This is Luke with Top Bins with Twins. We are going to be talking to you all this week about some FPL buy, sell, or hold. So that'll be a lot of fun this week. But
Yes, it will.
we picked some really kind of hot topic players that we think will help inform some of the decisions that a lot of you are going to be making for not just the next coming week, but the next 4, 5, 6 game weeks, right? So long-term implications here. But before we do that, I'm going to pass it over to Paul. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm good. I'm excited for another Premier League weekend that's up ahead of us. Those international breaks always feel like it's like, a month and a half. It feels like we're back in the desert without the Premier League during summer. So there's always some excitement building back into it. Things are looking good for my FPL team as of right now. Finally. So we'll see how that develops. But
It's so funny how our teams oscillate. I feel like my team's good, your team's really bad. Your team's good, my team is really bad. And we just got to, there's going to be one season or one stretch of a season where both of us are just really good at some point, because I don't think that's yet to
we have a
happen.
podcast about FPL, so you would hope so, right?
It hasn't quite happened yet, though, but I'm sure it will. It will. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. You just wait. But yeah, things are going good in FPL.
Do you want to tell the listeners how you did this week, Paul? Before
Yeah.
because we can be pretty quick with that because we've got a lot of players to get through this episode.
Yeah, so I was on 81 points last week. It turned out to be a great week for me. I had Holland as my captain, ended up on 16 points.
Nice.
Or 8, and then double with the captaincy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had Kudus, Semenyo, and then the rest of my team, honestly, this could have been one of my best game weeks ever. And I'm not saying that lightly. Like, I have the Arsenal clean sheet. I had a Munoz goal. Arsenal and I had Calafiori could have scored.
Yeah.
Went off the post. Easily
sure.
could have scored. I have Mateta in my team, who probably should have been on a brace with a Munoz assist.
Highest XG underperformer in the Premier League currently.
Yeah.
And
I know how to pick them.
Makes sense, but also most big chances missed for one single player.
And then I also have Bruno Fernandes in my team. He was this close from a fingertip save from scoring. Probably puts him on 2 or 3 bonus. And then Reinders, who also went off the post too.
Yeah.
So it was a really good week for me. 81 points. I am now 3 points behind Luke in our mini league. And I told him a couple weeks ago the footsteps were creeping up, and now there's just a bang, bang, bang on the door.
You caught up pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
It goes to show how densely packed FPL really is, right? That's why the colloquialism of, I don't know if I'm using that. That's not used correctly. But the whole point being is that in the beginning, your overall rank does not mean much, right? So it's something to keep in mind that if we're doing good, we're doing bad, things can change very quickly in the early season.
No, you're right. But Luke, let's hear about your team.
My team ended up on 53 points with a -4, so 49. Not the best week. I had Truefair with an assist. We kind of reviewed this last week, so I'll keep it really high level.
True. I forgot we did go over this.
Points.
That shows you my
Holland
memory.
got the captaincy, and the biggest noteworthy thing in my mind for my team this week was that Gordon did not take the penalty that Newcastle got because he was subbed off before it happened. That was the biggest thing in my week, I think, because if he gets a goal, he's probably on 3 bonus, and I'm feeling great about having him in the team. I still do feel really good about having him in the team, and that's not going to change, right? He got a goal for England over the international break, second goal in his career for England. So any goal for England is going to be big for him at this point, and I think that'll hopefully carry him into this weekend. So yeah, but happy with the team. I am going to roll a transfer this week. No hits taken, no free transfers used either. So just trying to build those free transfers back up a little bit while I can.
So. Nice. I think that's probably a good plan. We are getting closer to game week 16.
Yes,
where those transfers will be refilled for everybody. So
yeah,
good thing to be thinking about now. I mean, it is game. We're going into game week 8, so a little bit away. But like we talked about in the last podcast, now is a really good time to start preparing for said time to be occurring pretty soon. Because whoever would have thought that we'd already be at game week 8?
It's flown by.
it's pretty wild. But that's good, Luke. I mean, like you said, everything's so. It's kind of the same discourse as the Premier League in general. Everything is so reactionary week to week. Yeah, it's kind of like, can you string together the whole picture, not just a piece of
Right.
the puzzle,
Right.
So
Exactly. I think that kind of sets the stage for what we're going to do here for the rest of the episode very nicely. Um, and I want to provide some context before we go into this. So, a couple numbers for everyone to kind of just digest that kind of sets the table for us to talk about buy, sell, and hold. What to do with some of the most popular options.
we're going to talk about stocks.
Not after today, but I digress.
I've announced some tariffs.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through the top 10 most transferred in players as of now going into game week 8, right? The deadline has not passed. We're recording this as of Wednesday night, so got 3 more days to go until the deadline officially hits on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So, as of now, the top 10 most transferred in players, number 1 is Semenyo, by almost about 70,000 transfers. That's a pretty big gap.
Stonks go up, right?
Yes, they do. They do. Voltamade or Voldemorte is number 2 on the list. Holland Caicedo is 4. Timbers 5. Kudus is 6. I'll be talking about him in a little bit. Gabriel, Saka, and then Senesi rounds out the top 10 in the 10th spot. So some very interesting options there that we'll definitely be talking about at least a couple of these as we go through our buy, sell, and
Majority
hold
of those.
So that kind of sets the table nicely for us to get an idea of how FPL managers are moving with bringing in players and transferring them out ahead of talking about who we want to buy, sell, and hold. So with that, to kind of lay it out for everyone, get a very kind of like broad view on the market per se. Who is first on your list of buy, sell, or hold, Paul?
So I didn't really build mine with a ranked list. I can
No,
kind
it
of go
doesn't have
about
to
that.
be.
Okay.
This is in no
Just to be
particular
clear,
order.
yeah.
We're just gonna go with who we listed first and go from there.
Okay, cool. Number 1 on my list, Eze. Arsenal's number 10.
Yep.
Just scored for England. I think it was 2 matches ago, right? The first match of the international break. Or maybe it was the last
No,
one.
it was
the most recent match before they
Latvia.
So Eze on the score sheet there for England. He has been around. He got an assist in the last match.
Hey, look at us. Eze goal, Gordon goal. Nice.
Yeah.
May it continue.
Yeah. So Eze, I know he's had 6 points, 2 points, 4 points in his last 3 matches for Arsenal. This is a guy that I think we're going to be having some serious conversations about him as probably one of the better midfield options with Odegaard out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons that I have him under a very high buy status right now.
Yep. I agree with that one. I think Eze is a prime target has he risen? I'm not sure
Not that I know
if he
of. Let me
has.
see.
I believe either he's 7.5 or
Let's
7.6.
see.
So still very cheap and easy to get into a lot of teams. Maybe you have to make another free transfer, but I think a lot of people at this point, especially if you started out with Salah and you cut him out of the team, you probably have a fair amount of budget that you can work around within your team. Eze is a great person to target. And because we could see him playing centrally, filling that void from Odegaard, but we could also see him playing on the left wing as well, and then tucking in from that position. So,
which both positions he can really thrive at.
Yeah, and he kind of does the same thing in both to an extent, right? He's always trying to get in that inner left channel.
He wants to be in those half spaces
and cook from there, right? Where he can cut onto the right foot, bend it in the top right corner, or create an opportunity for another teammate as well. So I like that choice. I think Eze is definitely a buy. He's someone that I think would be out of the 20 players we're looking at right now, he'd be top 5 out of the 20 right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So yeah, I like that pick. The first one on my list is Semenyo. And my
Buy.
my feedback for him is hold.
Oh, so you're not telling people to buy him?
I think that for one, he's overperforming his expected figures
He's
by a
almost doubled it.
significant amount. 2, I think the fixtures get a little tricky. They're not horrible, but I think they present some challenging fixtures for Bournemouth. Right now, it seems like if anyone's going to return for Bournemouth, it's going to be Semenyo. And the way that they play, I think they could return against anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I think it's possible he reverts to the mean a little bit in the long run. Where,
Possibly.
I mean, if you look at his stats, he is converting, I think it was something crazy like 25% shot accuracy on all of his shots, which is a crazy figure that you just don't really see that. So it's something in interviews he said he's been working on and trying to improve on over the summer. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the trend will continue over time. But I could be wrong about that. But I think he's a hold for now, not necessarily a hot
I
commodity buy.
I disagree, Luke. I would say that if you don't have Semenyo at this point in time, you should be buying him just to honestly hedge your bets against the rest of FPL.
Potentially, yeah.
You see, just
Mhm.
just different mindsets, you know.
Yeah. I think that shows how we both play the game, right? I'm
I
someone
don't always do that.
you don't. But I'm especially of the mindset that I like to be more aggressive and try to go after players who I think have higher upside, as opposed to bringing a player in who I feel like maybe was not an early adopter in FPL. So that's probably a gap that I have at times. But this time I think I'm going to be right. So,
Hey, maybe you will. I hope you are, Lucas. All right, ready to bounce to my next?
yep, let's do it.
All right, so next we have Nick Voltamade,
Ooh, okay.
and I think he's a strong buy as well.
I would 100% agree on that.
Yeah, this is a guy, he's been scoring for Germany over the international break. He has, let's see, he has 9 points, 2 points, 7 points, and 6 points. And I think we talked about him on a previous podcast where I mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
this maybe feels like somebody in our teams that is kind of going to be like a Harry Kane-esque player.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's Harry Kane. Don't aggregate that, aggregators. I know that loves to happen on this podcast, but he is gonna. It seems like he's gonna give us consistent returns. Which
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about all the time. We're kind of doing buy, sell, a whole. He's passive income, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
something that's going to consistently return for us. And if we look at, sorry, my phone's about to die. If we look at, yeah, Newcastle's run of fixtures, it goes Brighton away, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Brentford away, City at home, Everton away. So over the next 5 or 6, I'd say good attacking fixtures.
And it even gets better after that. They
Mm-hmm.
go Everton away, Tottenham at home, which I think is a pretty good fixture, right? St. James Park, they completely play differently than other places. And then it goes Burnley at home and then Sunderland away, followed up by Chelsea away, which I don't think is a horrible fixture, right? Anything could happen in that one. But sorry, that's Chelsea at home, not Chelsea away. I think they've got one of the best stretches fixture runs for the next 10
Probably,
game weeks.
yeah.
So I think Voldemorte is a great pick to bring into your team. And if he was, I saw he was on your list when you put this together initially, he would have been on mine as a very heavy buy.
Yeah.
I personally think, honestly, he might even be top 5 as well, up there with Eze for best buys.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Any final thoughts on him
No,
before? Okay.
I think it's self-explanatory, you know.
My next person is Ismay Lassar. I think he is a great pick for the upcoming game weeks. He has 3 goals on an XG of 2.91, so he's not overextending himself. He's right around where he should be
And he
with
was
his
out for
expected
what,
figures.
2 to 3 fixtures, right?
Yes. Yeah. He's had limited minutes up to this point. Also has 1 assist. Hasn't created a lot of chances necessarily, but when you watch him, he's always in attacking positions and he's very creative with the ball at his feet, right? And we know Palace are trying to still find ways to be creative, but they've been doing a really good job of it up to this
Dude,
point.
Palace are just so fun.
Yeah, they've
I
been
love
really
Palace.
good. They've been great. So in my mind, Sar's someone at his price point. I believe he's around 6 to 7 million. I should know that one, but I'm not
I can
sure.
fact check that for you.
I
Keep
think he's a
talking.
great pick to have. If you look at their fixtures as well, Crystal Palace go Bournemouth at home, Arsenal away, Brentford at home, Brighton away, Wolves away, and then United at home, Burnley away, Fulham away. they've got really good fixtures over the
6.5,
next
by the way.
6.5. Yeah, see, that's a great price point, in my
But no, I
opinion.
agree. Like you're saying, the fixtures.
Yeah, I like the fixtures a lot. Crystal Palace have been very impressive. My only concern is rotation with Europe, as they have a decent amount of fixtures coming up in the very short term. That's something I'd be a little hesitant on. I do have him as a buy, but he's not a scorching hot buy. Someone that I think if you're bringing him in knowing that rotation's a possibility and you're okay with that, go for it. But I wouldn't say he's going to make the top 5 list of buys
Yeah,
necessarily.
I like it as a differential pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would necessarily, if I was just looking as Crystal Palace, like all their different assets in their team, I don't think he'd be my number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's at, I think it was 6% owned.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could be a great way, and we know that he is a very dangerous attacker.
Mm-hmm.
The way this Crystal Palace team is playing, he could have a brace in any given match.
Yep.
Really,
I agree.
so
I agree.
I like the shout out.
Perfect. Well, on to the next.
All right, let me pull my list up. My phone's being very slow today. So I, of course, chose another Arsenal player to throw on my list. Shockingly.
Shocked.
And it is Gaio Carries.
Oh my God.
Gyökeres. That's a joke in
Oh
our
my
house. I know how to say his name. And I have him in a hold status right now.
Okay. Okay. It seems like that is the general FPL consensus on him.
Yeah, it's in a hold. I'm considering selling him. But
Wow. Would it be to get in another Arsenal asset?
oh yes.
Okay. And would you be going for a third Arsenal defender? Okay.
I don't think so.
It would be Eze.
It may not be Eze.
Okay.
What's that look for?
It would be Saka. It's Eze or Saka.
How did you know?
It's either one.
Yeah, it depends. But I know that as a Gyökeres owner, the moment if I transfer him out going into this week, if he steps up, there's a pin, the ball's handed to him by Saka, and I bring Saka in my team, I may just quit FPL because
in my mind,
and it's very possible that could happen.
It feels like it's going to be day of decision. If Saka wants to take a pin, I think it's his pin to take. But weirdly, I still feel like Gyökeres is their pin taker. It's just Saka can take it if he wants, right? He can take it from Gyökeres because Saka is the heart of that team. He's their talisman. And if he says, I want to take this pin, bruv, he's going to take it. Right? So,
God.
Yeah, I think I disagree with your categorization of Gyökeres. I think he's a buy with the mindset that I really like the fixtures coming up and he's going to start scoring goals. He's one of the top XG underperformers, so he's getting pretty good chances, and I think they know if Arsenal want to win the league or they want to win Champions League, they need Gyökeres to be scoring goals and be able to score a hat trick in any given night. So they need to have those goals start trickling in. I think there's going to be an intent to get him on the score sheet.
But I'm just bringing this up for people's attention that there's a very trusted Arsenal source called Hands of Arsenal who tweeted out today that Havertz could be back by the end of October.
Yeah.
And if Havertz is back, I think Gyökeres' stock does drop because he will be subbed earlier in matches. Even if he's still the starting 9, he will be subbed earlier than.
I think in my mind, what I see there, and tell me if you're wrong about this tactically, Havertz is a better fit for Champions League because you're coming up against a lot of different styles of play, and Havertz is a lot more adaptable, where he can fit different styles of play. Gyökeres is going to be great for the league because you need someone to spearhead that attack, especially when a lot of teams are sitting deep. And I think I would default to saying maybe Havertz is the starter in Champions League and Gyökeres ends up with the Premier League.
Maybe.
I could be wrong
Who
about
knows?
that, but that's just kind of my gut feeling on how Arteta might approach that.
I agree. We'll see. Let's hear your next.
My next one is Bang Bang Mateta. The one and only.
Oh man.
The flag kicker. He has
Rule
been
breaker.
Off, no kidding. Has been off to not so hot of a start. Like we talked about earlier, He has pretty significantly underperformed his expected stats, which is a little unlike him. He's been very clinical up the last couple of years for Crystal Palace. I have him as a buy because I really like Crystal Palace's run, and I think he's going to revert the trend of him underperforming his XG. I could see him over the next 4 weeks overperforming his XG and adding an extra goal or two. That would be great for people like you who have him in their team.
Please, 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 please.
Yeah. So I think Mateta is a buy. I on the buy scale. Whoa, that sounds weird. Whether or not you should buy him for your team, I would say I'd put him top 10, maybe not top 5.
Yeah. I really don't want to derail this whole podcast talking about Crystal Palace and Arsenal the whole time, but it's amazing what Crystal Palace have done with their striker underperforming XG so heavily.
They'd be first in the league if he
Well,
was.
come on, let's not go that far. Let's calm down with that. But
They would be, I think. God.
come
I
on,
think
Luke.
they
We
would
know
be.
we know who deserves to be number one in the league.
All right, on to your next one. Go ahead.
Let me pull up my list. Sorry, I'm being slow today. Number 4 on my list, Kudus.
He's on my list too.
This is
Sorry, we doubled up.
No, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. We can both bounce this back and forth. So, he's somebody that has been performing over the past 3 to 4 weeks. I don't have. Let me see. Let me pull them up real quick. I don't know the exact totals. Let's see. So last week he had it was a 12-pointer against Leeds. Sorry. And then he's a 12-pointer, a 7-pointer, a 10-pointer, and then the rest of the matches he's been around 2 or 3. Let's see. And Spurs run of fixtures it gets more difficult now. Let's be honest. So they play Villa at home, Everton away, Chelsea at home, United at home, Arsenal away. Those are 5 tough fixtures. They're not easy, but the way that Thomas Frank has set this team up, I think Kudus is still like poised to return to those fixtures, though.
Yeah.
Just me.
I think he's a sell. I have him as a
interesting.
sell because he's really overperformed his expected numbers. For context, through the last 4 game weeks, this is season long. He is an XG of 1.72 with 1 goal, so underperforming his XG. 4 assists. Those 4 assists are coming from an XA, so expected assist, of 1.47. So he has basically 3 assists that he expected would not be getting.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm trying to say there. And that is a concern for me because you watch him, he looks really good. He's very creative, he's on the ball, but he's not creating high XG opportunities within that, is what the numbers are telling me. So Spurs fixtures are about to get a little more difficult. They have Champions League to manage. They are still in the cup, I believe. So there's a lot of fixtures coming up for them. And Kudus has been playing almost every single match. Maybe he gets rotated 1 week. And maybe some of these assists that are coming through dry up a little bit. I would sell. Personally, I did sell. Maybe I'm a little jaded because I sold him before his goal and assist and 3 points against Leeds. He did. He really did.
And Luke, I will say, I know that's not back-to-back week returns for him, but last season I made the mistake of selling some.
It was Gordon.
It was Gordon on the tail end of 2 weeks returning back-to-back, and Kudus looked really good in the last fixture for Spurs. So I personally would not sell him at this point in time. I would say hold. If he doesn't perform this week, the run of fixtures gets worse, then sell him after that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like
That's just me.
Yep. I think that's good advice for everyone out there. I would err on encouraging people to sell if they're thinking about it. If it's already in the back of your mind and you're like, maybe it's time. I would advise you to go ahead and do that. But if you like Kudus and you're happy with him, go for it. Right? Wouldn't tell anyone to go away from him. So my next player is Jaden Anthony, Burnley's midfielder who's been returning extremely well early on in the
4
season.
goals, right?
4 goals, yes. He's been 4 goals.
Scored against City.
He has 4 goals on an XG of 2.16, so overperforming his expected figures. And Burnley have been a little disappointing when you watch them throughout the course of the season. It just something, I don't know. Out of the 3 promoted sides, it seems like Leeds and Sunderland are the ones who I think have the best chance of staying up this season. I mean,
That's
look
what
at
it seems
Sunderland;
like.
they're top top half of the table, which is incredible. I know it's early on, but kudos to them, right? Kudos to them. Kudos to them. Sorry, kudos on the mind. I think Jaden Anthony is a sell though. He's got his returns early on. Coming back from the international break, he is a doubt with a knock.
I was
That's
gonna say
something to
that.
keep in mind. But I also do think, I don't know. I think Leeds is a tough test for Burnley, and it's a really important fixture
It
coming
is
up.
Leeds at home though, so
It is, but
it's a lot different than Leeds away.
Leeds have looked really good, and I think
Is Brendan Aronson back? Not to bring that up, but like FPL. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
um,
Don't aggregate that.
or do. We'll
God,
leave that up to you all.
If Brendan Aronson scores a hat trick, we are clipping this and we're putting it on social media for the rest of eternity.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yep. So prepare yourselves for that
God,
if that happens. We'll see.
yeah. Don't sell Jaden Anthony and buy Brendan Aronson. That's what we're saying.
Or you could just buy DCL, like all of Twitter right now. DCL in my team. And am I a trendsetter? Yes. Because I was on him before everyone else was.
Luke's an influencer.
Will he actually return? Is the question.
No is the answer.
We'll see. Burnley away is a really good fixture for him. So,
all right.
That's all I have on Jaden Anthony. I think he's a sell. I think he's a little bit of a trap.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's better places you could go at that price point, anyways.
Yep.
But we could be wrong. Who knows? What do we know? Next on my list, Bruno Fernandes.
You're going to say sell?
He is going to be sold.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not committing to that, but the 2 missed pins, United just honestly feel like a shit show once again. I think it's somebody that, I mean, he's hit DEFCON a couple times. He's assisted, but from the deeper lying midfield role that he's in, I just don't know at that price point if we can justify having him in our team. So
Yeah.
I would say sell at this point. Until United looks steadier, I would sell him.
I think he's a hold. Up to this point in the season, it's gone as horrible as it possibly could for any of the owners for Bruno. So at some point, I think it's going to click into place. And the price point is the main thing that is sticking out for me. Like, does he justify 9 million in our teams? Because that's a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
When you really think about the price point, I think that's when it gets to sell. But I do think he's going to come good sometime soon because the numbers look pretty good. And I think he's still going to be on pins. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. But I would hold for a little bit longer. So.
Okay. I respect that. I disagree, but I respect it.
Well, that's why we have a podcast. So next on my list, I have Enzo Fernandez. I have him as a buy. One, I really, really like Chelsea's fixtures. I think they have one of the best runs over the next 10 game weeks or so. He's really cheap for the price point, and as opposed to Caicedo, who does play that CDM holding midfielder. Who is my next
pick, by the way?
Oh, cool. We can easily
just talk about that. Yeah.
Bridge into that, right? Stanford Bridge. You can give us okay.
God.
Sorry about that. But I do think Enzo is taking up more aggressive positions. He's moving further up the pitch, especially with the absence of Cole Palmer. He's kind of filling that void of not having Palmer. And
is Cole Palmer going to be back, though?
That's the main thing. In my mind, I would rather go with Cole Palmer. I think I trust him when he's back. If he's healthy, yes. If he's healthy.
He has one open play Premier League return since January.
Yeah, but he's Cole Palmer, right? He's going to find that form at some point. And when he does, he's going to skyrocket in price.
So that's like saying that's Calvert-Lewin, man. He's going to score. I don't buy it. Like, I mean, until he puts together like 2 or 3 games where he's consistently returning, or he has a game where he scores a hat trick, I would not move to
So
that price point
do you feel like
for Cole Palmer.
The Pochettino era was just lightning in a bottle? That it just kind of happened because of how Pochettino plays him?
No, no,
I
no. I'm just saying that like in this current iteration of this Chelsea team, there's goals, assists, and other places. He's not now the lone creator, the lone goal scorer. So I don't know if it's going to be as consistent. I mean, I'm not saying Cole Palmer is probably one of the most creative midfielders in the world. Like he's really really good. It's just was that a flash in the pan? I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Yeah,
until he proves that like he's going to do it week in and week out again,
right.
I'm just saying I wouldn't buy him right now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Going back to Enzo, I do think Enzo's a buy. He's returned nicely. If we look at his stats, he has 3 goals, and he's slightly underperforming his expected figures as well. So that tells me that it's a very sustainable return that he's getting week in, week out.
Hmm.
Also has an assist. He's taken a penalty this season, which is really great for his value. And he's cheap, right? So that kind of takes us into what you're talking about next. Caicedo. I think Caicedo's a bit of the opposite. I think the returns are very hit and miss. As a CDM, you don't expect him to be getting these outside the box goals every week. That's just not going to happen. If you want to have someone in your team who you feel like you can rely on an extra 2 points from DEFCON, he's going to hit it almost every single week. I think
Hmm.
that's where the value lies with him. If you can bench him and or want to play him and hope to get 5 points out of him.
Yeah.
But so Enzo's a buy for me. Caicedo's a sell for me. What do you say about Caicedo?
I think he's a hold.
Okay.
I think if you have him, he's kind of a really good person this season. That, and I mean, I will. There was a really good video that Adam Cleary, a guy on YouTube, put out about how he thinks the big tactical tweak this season essentially is defensive midfielders occupying a space higher up where they're getting more chances to score goals, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Caicedo, Zubamendi, who else is there out there? Uh,
Gravenberg.
Gravenberg. Yeah, all these kind of defensive midfielders
He
that are,
also highlighted Wolves CDM. I can't
yeah,
remember what his other
Krikic,
something like
Krikic,
that.
yeah. But they're just given a little more license in the way that they're setting teams up where, and especially with the change in DEFCON 2 this season, where I mean, if we have somebody that you know is going to get you 2 points a week, right? That automatically at the end of the season puts them on what, 76 points? No, 60. No, what's
78. No. 76. 76.
76 points? Yeah,
Yeah.
in the season. And that's totally without like even just like minutes, without anything else. If they sprinkle in 7 or 8 returns in there, what that's probably maybe fourth or fifth in returns for a midfielder in the season, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just over a season, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you get someone in your team that's going to consistently perform for DEFCON, which is why Bruno's so enticing, but he just has to perform.
He's
You
hit
know,
11 DEF cons 2 weeks in a row, which has been really, really frustrating.
and I just
Especially
don't want Bruno on my team. He's so unlikable.
especially the week when he missed the penalty and he ends up on -1 points. Even if that DEF con hits and he ends up on 1 point, you feel a lot better about that than
Hmm.
him taking points out of your team.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I would just say Caicedo's a hold for now until he shows that he's out of this little goal scoring clip. I don't think that's going to last all season. If he gets above 5 goals, I'd be surprised. He's already sitting at 3, right?
I could easily see him not scoring another goal throughout the entire
It's
season.
entirely possible, but who knows? Maybe he keeps scoring. It's possible. But if you
I
if
don't
you
know.
have him,
Maybe.
I would keep him. Let it make him prove to you that he shouldn't be in your team.
Sure. Yep. No, that's fair. I get it. I
Let's
get
hear
it.
your next person, Lucas.
My next one is Mo Salah. And I say no Mo. He's got to go.
End the podcast. Stop.
We've got a Reddit thread about that. Go check it out. And that was we were early adopters on that. We were saying that game week 2, game week 3.
And we
If
said
you,
this from the beginning of the season.
I was saying, but really got confirmation as the season progressed early on. In the first couple game weeks, Salah was so far removed from everything that Liverpool are doing that even the returns he got early on in the season, it was like, No, that doesn't pass the sniff test, right? He's not involved. Those returns didn't feel right to me, right? They just
Mm-hmm.
some players like Semenyo, right? He's someone who's at the heart of everything Bournemouth are doing. He's creating chances. He's converting chances that he's creating for himself. Salah is just so removed that as of now, if you have not already sold Salah, I would say sell him immediately because I would almost be worried about. I think Slot's in a position now where he has to consider making some tactical adjustments that are pretty major. That could involve Salah taking up another position that he might not be accustomed to, or maybe even benching Salah altogether.
Yeah.
And at the price point, it is strictly not worth paying that much when you could go to another option that is far cheaper and more involved in the attack. So I think Salah is a major sell, but and I think I see a lot of people talking about Manchester United at home. That's a fixture that Salah has done well in
He does
historically,
typically return that fixture.
but I still don't think it's worth it. Right? If someone is going into this game week and they're saying I'm captaining Salah for Manchester United, I feel like I have a leg up on them for that.
Yeah, please do.
So that's just my opinion. But
If you want a real differential, Captain Mo Salah. I think everybody knows how I feel. I think he's a sell.
yeah.
I think he should have been sold from game week 1, but that's just me. I agree with you, Luke.
Mhm.
Let's go to my next player.
Yeah.
Jackie Grealish.
Oh, what a man.
I have him under a pretty firm hold status.
I like that. I like that.
And that's partly due to the fact that he's about to play City away. He cannot
Well,
play in that fixture.
yep.
He won't be playing due to loan rules. And then we look at the run of fixtures. So it goes City away, Tottenham at home, Sunderland away, which may not be as easy as we thought going into the season. Fulham at home, Man United away, Newcastle away, Bournemouth away, Nottingham Forest away, Chelsea away, Arsenal away. It gets difficult for Everton. It really does. I mean, we look at the teams they beat this season. So they beat Crystal Palace. They shouldn't have beat Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I no,
Yeah.
I trust me.
If Palace take their chances and capitalize
the
on the
game's
opportunities,
3-0. It's not a
very
chance.
much so. But they were wasteful.
They were
And
wasteful.
this is
I
what
get it.
happens when you are.
It's the Premier League. You have to be great for 90 minutes in every match. I get it. I think they were lucky in that match. They just tied to West Ham, lost to Liverpool, tied to Villa. I mean, they've beat Wolves and Brighton and the Crystal Palace. To me, Everton have been a lot better this season, but it's still not a team where I'm like, I really want to invest in their attack as soon as possible. But if you have Grealish, he's been performing. He's going to get assists. He could find more goals as the season goes on. I think he's still a good hold. I think he could be a good buy again. I just think now is not the time to buy.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I would say the same for all Everton assets. I would say they're a hold, but I wouldn't be flocking to go buy any of their players at this point. I think there was a period where there was a clamor to get them, but that has definitely calmed down. But I also wouldn't advise people to be selling them either, right? I think Grealish, Njai, Tarkowski, all of those are really good FPL options for us to have in our teams. So don't go and transfer them out for another player because you could easily do what I did last week with Kudus, where you have a good option, you transfer them out for someone you think has a higher upside, and then it bites you in the butt next week.
It happens to the best of us.
It does happen. It does happen. So I like that. I agree. We're in agreement there on Grealish. I think he's a good hold.
God, I'm doing so good today.
All right, on to the next one. One of Paul's favorite FPL players,
Bowen.
Jared Bowen.
I knew it.
I have Jared Bowen as a sell. And I know he's not owned by a lot of managers right now, but I really worry about his underlying stats.
But that's always been the case, man.
I know he has 3 goals on an XG of 0.81. So he's really overperforming at this point. He has an XA throughout the first 7 matches of the season of 0.53. So he's averaging under 0.1 assists per game, which is not good at all. With 0 assists, and that makes sense, right? So Bowen's someone that if we look at West Ham's fixtures, they're really good. It goes Brentford at home, Leeds away, Newcastle at home, Burnley away, Bournemouth away, and then it gets more difficult after that with Liverpool, Villa, Brighton, Manchester City. There's some tough fixtures in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're buying Jared Bowen, it has to be with the plan to get rid of him in the next 5 to 6 game weeks if you're going to bring him in. And I would never advise someone to bring someone in for that short of a time frame with how I like to manage my team.
For sure.
So that's why I'm saying he's a sell, because I'm really worried about those underlying figures. I just don't see a lot being created, but that could easily change, right? With the new manager, Nuno has had time over the international break to work with his players. Bowen's been at the England camp, so that always kind of seems to lift players a little bit. But I would say he's a sell. Sell. He's between a sell and a hold for me, but I lean more towards sell.
I agree with you, Lucas. I think that there are better options out there right now.
Yep.
And it's not for me not believing in Jared Bowen. I think he's a great footballer.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, like we talked about, Voldemort's out there. He's building his army. He's ready to storm the Ministry of Magic. Like, who knows? He may. And then there's also Mateta, who I think is a better option. There's, to me, you have Thiago Brentford too. I mean, there's just different players out there, I think, that could check those boxes in better performing teams, you know?
There's a lot of really good options at
And
forward.
the stats are better too.
And I think we're about to see some forwards really assert themselves as good FPL options. Number one on that list, I think Gyökeres. And I know I keep coming back to this, but I have watched him and he's getting better every match at better understanding Arteta's system, fitting in with his teammates, knowing which spaces to occupy, and he's going to have a massive haul sometime soon. That's what I think. So,
yeah. Maybe. So next on my list is João Pedro.
Sell.
Kick him out the door. Kick him out as soon as you can.
Get him out. I will say I'm a little concerned because he did have the international break where he did not go, didn't report to Brazil, didn't play in any fixtures. It'd be good for him to kind of rest up and recover a little bit. Maybe he finds some form again, but I think as we've seen, he's not great as your out and out 9. He just drops too deep, doesn't have the physical presence to play as a 9.
And he's not on pens like he was at Brighton. So
yeah,
it just, I mean, last 3 fixtures, 2, 2, 2, then a 7. Like, so he has a total of, what is it? 39 points, and that's just from 3 matches. Besides that, it's just been 2s across the board. And he's had 1 match of 15 points. I think that was, a hat trick of assists, right? When Chelsea killed...
it was a goal and maybe 2 assists, I believe.
Yeah, it was when they killed West Ham earlier in the season. Yeah, goal, 2 assists.
Yep.
And 3 bonus. So, I mean, he performed early for his owners. I just think it's tough, especially if Delap gets... I don't know when Delap's coming back.
Not sure.
I don't know what that timeline looks like, but there's just a lot of questions around that Chelsea attack right now. So I would steer clear. I would sell.
I would too. Beware the fixtures though. I think there might be some returns in there for him. We've seen throughout the course of the season that he typically can find returns in matches that maybe it seems like he wouldn't otherwise. So just be careful selling. But I think there are some really great options out there you can go for instead of him. So
I agree, sir.
My next player that I want us to discuss is Sean Longstaff with Leeds. I think Longstaff is a buy, frankly. I like Leeds fixtures a lot. And he's on set pieces now, which is really great. Just scored a goal for Leeds against Bournemouth. He also has an assist. And I think he's a really influential player in that team where he's going to be creating chances, but he also is the type of player that loves to press high up the pitch. He's high intensity, and I could see him turning teams over with the way Leeds play, right? And being in some pretty opportune situations where he could create for other teammates and then also perhaps capitalize on that himself.
Yeah. I don't think that's somebody I would ever rely on for week in and week out return. So, you know,
in my mind, he's someone that fifth on your bench as a midfielder that you can rotate in if it's a really good fixture like this week, Burnley away. So
yeah, I could see that.
Let's say you're trying to enable getting let's say Isak pops off this weekend, scores 2 goals against Liverpool. Sorry, against Manchester
For
United.
Liverpool.
For Liverpool against Manchester United, scores 2 goals. Everyone's clamoring to get Isak in, and you need to drop a midfielder down to get to Isak. I think someone like Longstaff is a really good option to bring in. So,
Yeah. You could also go with Brendan Aronson too at Leeds.
yeah, we're all about Brendan Aronson today.
Dude, he looked really good in the US fixture against who they play Australia last night. He subbed in around the 65th minute. Could have had a goal, could have had an assist.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm back on the Brendan Aronson bandwagon, but just be on the lookout.
You did leave pretty violently when you did off the bandwagon.
I didn't leave violently.
You hopped off pretty quick though.
Let's not use the word violently.
You aggressively left the bandwagon.
Fair. I hopped off. All right. Next for me, Marcos Senesi.
Okay.
Bournemouth's center back. And to me, this is a hold for now.
Yeah. I think with his DEFCONs, I would probably buy. That's how I would categorize him, because if he's adding 2 points to hit whatever total he gets every week, and it's almost guaranteed every single week, that is a great asset to hold.
Well, so the reason why I say hold, Luke, though, is because they play Crystal Palace away, Nottingham Forest at home, Man City away, Villa away. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to look there. But after that, the fixtures get a lot better. I would say if you have him, hold him until then. He will hit DEFCON against City. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Against Villa away, he should hit DEFCON too, because they probably won't have the ball in possession that much. And then with Palace away, I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet there. I just don't.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But to me, he's still probably one of the best defenders to own that's not an Arsenal defender. So I think you could easily convince me to buy him at this point. I would just say hold because of the next 4 fixtures.
I think at this point, when you look at the FPL consciousness as a whole on social media and in podcasts and various things, it seems like the ideal, let's say, back three would be Senesi with 2 Arsenal defenders. That's what I see as what people view as optimal right now, because Senesi's a DEFCON monster and Arsenal look like they're just stalwarts at the back. They're not allowing anything in. So I say that, and we'll see what happens this weekend. But okay, yeah, I agree. Senesi, I think hold is a good spot for him to be in. One of those where it's leaning more towards buy than sell, in my opinion, if you're just holding. But
no, I'm there with you.
He's a great option. Yeah. My next one is Benjamin Sesko, Manchester United.
I'm curious where you're going to go with this.
I have him as a buy. I think the chances have been falling to him nicely. He's got 2 goals. And at Manchester United, getting that first return out of the way early on is instrumental to finding success there, right? Because the pressure starts to mount whenever you aren't returning, you aren't finding the goals. And as a striker, he's really talented. We know if they can maximize the talent that he has, they've got their striker for the next 5-6 years if he stays there.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I think that whenever you look at the fixtures, Liverpool is a tough one, especially going away for Manchester United. But then it goes Brighton at home, Forest away, which is really nice. Tottenham away I could see him returning in that. Right? It wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Yeah, that match will most likely be extremely chaotic.
Yes. And then the fixtures continue to be nice over the next 5 after that too. I think Seshko is a really nice differential and someone that 3 or 4 weeks from now we could be looking at and saying, why didn't we all go there? Right? Because I could see him getting 3 or 4 goals in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. To me, it's more of a United question than a Seshko question, right? Like, is United a team that you want to be buying assets for right now? I personally would say no, until it's kind of like the same thing with the Cole Palmer situation. Until they prove to me that it's a viable asset, that this is something that you want to bring into your team, I wouldn't do it as of right now.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. I agree. I think this is more of an upside play where
give and take. Yeah.
There's more risk involved with bringing him in. But I do think United are going to have a stretch where their attack really starts to click. And they have looked better over the last couple of weeks. There's noticeable differences. And I think Seshko could be the one to benefit from that.
Okay. You could be right.
Could be.
You could be wrong.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. So
right. This is your last player in your list.
My
right?
last one is the tree himself, Dan Burn. The Redwood.
Yeah. Okay. What are you thinking? Is he buy, sell, or hold?
He is a strong buy, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I think Newcastle's defense is going to rival Arsenal's whenever we're having discussions at the end of the season for who was the best defense in the league.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Dan Burn, I mean, he has what? So if we look at him, he has a 11-pointer, a 9-pointer, a 6-pointer, a 6-pointer, and a 9-pointer. Those are great returns to have in your team week in and week out. And I know that sadly Kyle, our friend, I guess, has Dan Burn in his team.
He had to go and betray us.
Why do you have to bring Dan Burn in? Unbelievable. But he's somebody that can, I mean, like I said, he's a tree on those corners. He's a threat every time. And he's consistently returning. Somebody that I think is very viable.
To me, it seems like Dan Burn has been the target of every Newcastle set piece over the last 2 to 3 years. But now with Voltemade there, Voltemade is the one who scored 2 or 3 headed goals off corners up to this point in the season. So I think Dan Burn's the one that's being used as a distraction, right? Everyone's focusing on him.
And that will flip eventually.
That's my thing, right? If people start realizing he's the decoy, they're going to start focusing on Voltemade, right? Putting 2 men on him. And then maybe Dan Burn is only marked by 1, right? And with him being the tree he is, he's going to find some chances. So a Dan Burn 15-pointer, 16-pointer, I would not be shocked for that to happen sometime in the next 5-6 game weeks.
I'm there with you. That's why I put him on my list.
Yep. Would surprise me. So, yeah, I really like that as a pick, Paul. I agree with the buy there. And my last player might be a little controversial here. Alexander Isak. I have him as a buy.
Going
early. Liverpool are too talented and they have too good of a manager to not figure out and problem solve with what's going on for them.
We'll see.
As the Arsenal fan, I know that you're going to push back on that a little bit, but I think Isak's one of those players that we've seen week in, week out in the Premier League. One of the most talented players in our league. He's going to figure it out. It's going to click for him at some point. And I think once Isak gets even just a goal and he's looking better on the pitch, people are going to really start transferring him in heavily. So,
or we're just seeing this Liverpool team actually return back to gravity, back to earth from the season last year where everything happened for them perfectly and everything just worked out in the best way possible.
I think it's different this season. There's a lot they're trying to figure out with the new players, and they spent over £300 million.
Who was Agent 007? Who are you talking about?
One of the most talented players in their squad too. He's just got to be put in the right positions, I think. The point being here is they're going to figure it out. They will. And the points that they got earlier in the season, those were pretty fortunate because they had a lot of 95th minute winners, 96th minute winners, all of those. But I think sometime in the near future, they're going to start beating teams 3-0, 4-0. There could be weeks where 7-8-0, right? This team is that talented where they should be doing that against competition and against teams that aren't as good as they are. It's just a matter of when it happens, because once it clicks, Isak is going to be in the goals and we're going to want to have him.
Most likely. We'll see.
That's why I think holding on to a wild card for later into this first window for the wild card is good, because as of now, it seems like within the FPL narrative, Newcastle's getting a little popular. Liverpool's definitely faded off the radar. And getting to their assets, who are so expensive, it's going to be hard to get there.
Yeah, but I would also say about that, Luke, dude, don't wait too long to play the wild card, because everybody basically is getting a new wild card in game week 16 too
No,
for the
that's
outbound
very
transfers.
fair.
So
Very fair.
just be careful with that because you don't want to play it the week before and have everybody hop on the same thing you're doing, you know?
Yep.
So just throwing that out there. But I agree with you. Isak at a certain point in the season is probably going to be a non-negotiable in everybody's team.
Yep, I think so.
It just depends on when.
Mm-hmm. Completely agreed on that.
I had to take my Arsenal hat off. I'm not actually going to, but
yeah, I didn't expect it to. Yeah, well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of buy, sell, or hold. Do you have any final thoughts for the listeners out there, Paul? Wait, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Who is a differential that you would shout out for the listeners out there for this upcoming game week?
I really liked when you talked about Sar.
Okay.
I think with Palace's run of fixtures, the way that they've been playing so far this season, he could be a really good asset. Also, Brendan Aronson, man, I'm just full fucking sending it. If Brendan Aronson scores this week, you're gonna see it all over our social media.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
I'm going. Oh God, yeah. Who would you pick, Lucas?
I think he's still differential, but DCL is my differential. God damn.
Oh man.
Be ready for the brace this weekend, everyone. And then FPL Twitter will absolutely melt down. So I'm ready for that.
But let's just come to the agreement now that you're not allowed to walk around the house depressed from late Sunday afternoon to the next game week whenever DCL misses like 5 clear chances and you're like, man, I thought he was gonna blah blah blah. Like, let's just not do that, okay? Can we agree to that now?
He's an XG merchant. Come on, what? Yeah, no, I hear you. I agree.
It's just not.
The excitement is there, but the expectations are 2 points from him every single week. That's how I realistically, that's how I see it. So anything I get outside of that is a huge bonus because bringing him in, I knew the way I was going to set up my team going into the next 5-6 game weeks, right? I had an idea of how it looked, and he's going to play in 2 or 3 of those weeks, if that.
Yeah.
So, someone I'm happy to bench and keep him on my bench. But if he returns, then he's vying to stay in the team longer and be starting.
I get that. But yeah, closing thoughts. I would just say, be aware of where your team is realistically. Like where do you want to be 3-4 weeks from now? Make sure you're using some kind of service like FPL team, whatever it is. Solio is really good to look at your team in more of a longer time run. Just make sure you're aware where you're at the moment and be planning for everything down the line because we are going to get a holding set of chips sometime in the next 10 game weeks, I guess, 10 game weeks from now on. So just make sure you're utilizing those chips in the right manner and you're planning stuff out.
Yep. I think that's great advice for everyone out there, Paul. My one piece of advice as we're going into game week 8, be very careful about making early transfers going into this game week. There's been a long international break. A lot of players some players might have picked up knocks. They might have injuries that the teams don't know about yet. So wait for those press conferences from when managers give them on Thursday or Friday. We'll learn a lot from those and try to hold your transfers up until then. So that's my advice. And with that, we're going to get out of here. So thanks for joining us this week. Be sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and
tell us where we're wrong.
Yeah. Disagreement's great.
Yeah.
We want this to be a conversation.
We thrive on that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, like I said, let us know what you thought of this podcast. And Paul, it was a lot of fun to talk with you today, but we'll be back next week to talk FPL with you all. So we'll talk with you all then.
Thanks, everybody.